Hello everyone, my name is Mike. So today we're just going to quickly check out this Cloud 5. No, wait, I think it's called Claude Design. I'm not even sure what the name is. And then we'll see what exactly it has. It's essentially somewhat similar, I think, to Lovable, that particular website that creates really beautiful landing pages. And it's able to, based on your existing code base, generate your very own landing page. For instance, it could be modern or simple, or as I'm mentioning here, fast. Let me briefly explain. I'm now using it to redesign my website. Let's see how it turns out. What's important to note is that it can connect to your existing code. For example, code on GitHub or code from your computer. It doesn't require direct uploads. It can use Chrome to access your file system, viewing files one by one. This might actually be better. So let's just move forward and continue on to the generation process. Here, I'll pause. It's mentioned that this will take approximately 15 minutes. I'll pause and then we'll just wait for a moment. I'll pause. Essentially, we'll then return, go back to our Cloud Design webpage to have a look. I'll pause. It essentially means that you are able to build your own design system. I'll pause, and you can also create these PPTs. Pause and then build various templates. One really good thing about this Cloud Design is that its usage is not synchronized with your other usage, the other usage in your subscription. That's actually quite good. And I think this is a very, very rare generosity from Swap. So while we're waiting, I'll just quickly mention that the software you see me using to record my screen right now is actually the official website for Screencast, which we are currently in the process of redesigning. Currently, it's essentially a screen recording software that's quite similar to what we refer to as Screen Studio. It basically incorporates all of Screen Studio's existing functionalities. And in the future, we will be integrating advanced AI editing capabilities, allowing you to utilize your own preferred AI. Well, if you happen to be interested, you can just click on the video link. So let's first take a quick look at it. This AI, it's actually quite similar to Cloud Code, but the thing is it can connect to a lot of external tools. You can clearly see it's quite fascinating. Then reading some files, checking our pricing, copywriting. I really think this aspect is excellent. It's essentially like hiring your own designer. For example, if your company has an official website, right? Or if your business has an official website and you don't want to start over from scratch, then I'll just use Claude Design. And here you can directly use some tokens to help you do it. It says it'll take about 15 minutes. So let's just wait a bit. See you in 15 minutes, okay? All right, then we probably waited for like really maybe 15 minutes or so. And then you could see it was making some progress. It actually wanted to read through the entire project Swift code to understand our design style. Well, you see, I've actually already gone ahead and provided a web folder right here, and I'll just quickly check if I can add it in, all right? Then right below this section, there should be a button available for selecting a folder. So I'll go ahead and locate the specific style folder for my project. It appears that this particular one cannot be added in this way. So in that case, let's simply click on Import Code Folder instead. So at this moment, we'll choose a folder named Screenkite, which actually contains all the source code for our entire project. Then Chrome will prompt you asking if you'd like to grant permission, and we simply click Allow. Once permission is granted, then it's all set. So we can confirm that this first part is now complete. Let me take a look then. So to address your first question, I've already linked it up. It actually contains all the repositories, all the files. You can go ahead and read through them yourself. And you don't really need to strictly adhere to the macOS design style because this is a screen recording application, a Mac app. It might not necessarily be the same as the web version. As for this strategy, I think you should decide for yourself what looks best and how to achieve it. And it actually had quite a lot to say. For the others, just do whatever you think looks best. Is that okay? And regarding this logo, I think you could also learn from this particular design style. Now, the fourth point is quite interesting. After it analyzed my image, it actually learned some prompt engineering. It will essentially adopt the design style of my website so we can see what it looks like in the end. Just wait a moment. I'll send it over now, and it will probably take another 10 to 15 minutes. Actually, its overall experience, we can take this moment to quickly go over it. It's actually quite impressive. You can see it has extracted my entire website's design style. Now, back when I was working at Microsoft, for instance, when we were using Sketch or Figma, our designers might have spent several months just to create such a system. I have two incredibly good, very strong designer friends, and one of them, in fact, is currently at Figma. So today, Figma's stock is very significantly affected, and then we can take a look at Figma's stock. It's called Fig. Actually, after that Asphalting's release, today it only dropped a little bit, but I honestly think it really could have fallen much, much more. And it certainly impacted Figma's stock price. For us, who are complete novices in design, we can simply tell it our ideas, and it produces really impressive and excellent designs. It's asking for additional fonts, but for this particular design, I honestly don't think these fonts are necessary at all. Then let's take a moment to review the entire branding design. You can actually expand it to get a clear idea of what it's meant to look like. And as for the badges, I truly feel they already align perfectly with my personal design style. I'm not sure what design systems it can generate in the future or what code it can restore. I'll do my best to introduce it to you all in this video, so welcome to keep watching. Hello. As you can see, AI has now essentially completed the formation of this entire design system. And then we can observe that it also includes various files, specifically design files. These are essentially like React components, which are just some very simple XML files, and they contain all the necessary data. Actually, this wrapper of mine has two apps. For example, what I have open here are ScreenKite and PilotKit. These are all AI-related video editing tools. ScreenKite can record screens, and this one can edit. You can see they're all quite interesting, right? And actually, I have many more options here. For example, options. Look, Web UI Kit, macOS UI Kit. Let me see if I can open it. Oh, I actually think macOS isn't doing that great. It's still very suitable for web. Then let's look at PilotKit Web. It actually supports multiple projects, which I think is really amazing. So what do we do here? So you can see right here, I'm able to export it as a PDF or other similar file types. And also, for instance, we can send it over to Canva. And then there's HTML as well. We should try exporting all of these. I anticipate that this process will likely take a little while. Now, I just noticed earlier that based on what's called a design system, we can actually proceed to completely redesign our website. And we have now successfully established and finalized our design system. So you see, we have a project here and there's a design system involved. Let's just locate where that design system is. Oh, it's right here. Then I'd like to explore how we can transform it into, for instance, a website for my own company. I'll go ahead and redesign it. Let me open it up once more to confirm if this is indeed the one. All right, no problem at all. I'll go and find it for you. Now, regarding the design side, it's still the design system, but its current logic is still a little bit strange. So on our end, we have something called high fidelity. I'll start by using a wireframe, for instance. This one is called ScreenKite Website V2, correct? Then we click Create, and then here we can attach it with a design system. And then I'll take a look, just a quick look. Where is it? It says it hasn't been published yet, but I just saw that it was already published. I'm not sure why. So let's go back to the design system, and it actually is already published. As for make default, let's just double check again. It should be fine. Then we'll go back to the left and let's make another ScreenKite website V3, the third version. Then click this. Now it's high fidelity. It actually has a lot of bugs. You can see I already have this design system here, but it claims I don't. So what can you do, right? So let's just return to this design. And based on this, I'm going to ask it, Asa, if it's possible to create a design. Oh, right here, with new design with this design system. Let's see if it can carry over my current state. Oh, it can. It finally works. So that's ScreenKite V4, right? And then we're still working with the wireframe diagram because I originally wanted to create one, and you can see it's already available down below. Can you design like a stronger version, highlighting our differences between ScreenKite and other tools like Loom and Screen Studio? Okay, so in that case, I'll just have it design something for me. What I'm really looking for is a stronger version, of a web landing page. And so we'll just give this a try. Actually, what I'm hoping for here is that it can, for instance, take a look at our current code folder, the one we had previously attached. And then if it finds it necessary, just like Cloud Cowork or Cloud Code does, it can directly go and examine it. So in that sense, it's essentially like a web-based AI agent. Actually, it's you can imagine that it's able to connect to some of your local folders as long as your computer is powered on and running. So in that case, we'll just wait a little while for the results to see exactly how well this AI agent truly performs. All right, so everyone can actually see here On the left side, it's posing a few questions. For instance, our Claude Design tool asks you, what exactly is this web page for? You see, I responded that it's for a full landing page redesign. And then it asks, what are your competitors? I'm talking about Loom, Screen Studio, right? OBS is also an option, as CleanShot 2. I have quite a few of these. And QuickTime is also an option. And for others, I'll add one. For example, what other popular apps are there? I guess maybe CapCut, right? CapCut can also record screens now. That's Jianying. What matters most, I think, is F-Faster and native, agent ready, right? And then pause, we also have it built for builders, pause, but also for marketers. Pause. And then it's local first. Pause with instant sharing. Has a pause, and there's also Hysteria, pause. It's AI agent ready, pause, and also for screencast. It didn't quite realize that. So I'll just tell it, he asked how we can really emphasize our competitive advantages, right? And I think I'll just let it help me make that decision. And then how many different directions should the wireframe have? I think you should definitely give me more options, right? Especially since it's just a wireframe. Let me take a look at this.
I think I'm gonna go with the longer one.
And then he brought up the comparison. I think either option is perfectly fine. Let him make the final decision. I don't really have any strong points to emphasize. Regarding this particular section, actually yesterday I had a Reddit post, and I was actually hoping to take a paragraph from that Reddit post, some promotional content that I personally spent quite a long time writing, and just paste it directly over here. Let me just check if I can manage to paste it. If I am able to paste it successfully, then actually I believe that would be a really, really great thing.
All right, just a moment, please. Then I'm essentially saying that I'm basically a really, really long paragraph of text, and I thought this particular text, it could really make my landing page stand out. You pick, I told it, you decide. And then pilot cart, how exactly do you say that? Actually, what I'm trying to say is for now, you're exclusively working on screencast. Pilot cart, you see, that's a completely different product, a distinct offering altogether. So the primary conversion goal for this, I believe, would be either a direct download or a switch from another service. And a download, I think, would also be perfectly acceptable, wouldn't it? And as for how lo-fi, I think you should be the one to design. And basically that's all there is to it. Then I'll check, there's a continue button at the bottom, and then it can just proceed. Then on the left, it's continuing, a bit like Claude Code. So let's just wait a moment and see the result. Hello everyone, you can see that the entire screen has now been fully implemented. I feel it's actually not as refined as it was before. It's certainly not as simple as it used to be. It's quite complex now, but I think it's still perfectly acceptable, right? And if you take a closer look, you'll notice it strictly adheres to my previous design style, I believe, and I think it's quite good. Now I'd like to check if it can support a mobile version. Oh, it's currently full screen, so I'll just make it a little smaller. It seems there's no mobile version, which is really, really quite unfortunate, but it's not a big deal. It's just an HTML file. Essentially, it's just this kind of HTML. You might notice I actually have another HTML, but it crashed just now because when I closed the browser, I found it would crash on its own. So there's no other way since I'm connected to some local files. So now I just need to do one thing, continuously iterate on this. Well, I actually, on Twitter, I had asked a professional about this, and he gave me some design concepts, some ideas. So I have a whole conversation. I'll just copy paste it directly. I won't even think about it. And then on the other hand, I still need to provide my local code folder to Claude here, and then have Claude directly read the contents of this folder, right? And then once we allow this time, it can then open up my folder and continue reading from there. After that, I'll have the AI take a look to see if we can achieve continuous improvement. Let's just wait a moment. Also, I need to mention to it that our app is not intended to be permanently free. Currently, it might be free, but the future business model hasn't been decided yet. Regarding this point, actually, I think we should also tell the AI, and then have the AI not directly write on that part, that this thing of mine is permanently free. That's not good, right? And that's pretty much the gist of it. As for this benchmark, I actually don't really have much to add right now. But I think I can just go ahead and add a little bit for now. And then later on, we can refine it a bit more and then take it out. And I think it basically covered everything I wanted to say, and I think that's the situation. And then what I'm also saying is, if I were to implement this later, I'd put the AI features right at the forefront. Then I might include some AI case studies, and then everyone will be able to see them. This is the iterative process I'm describing. All right, everyone, let's take a look at this iterated design. As you can see, this is our brand new version of the design. Now, I think I can accept it, but honestly, there are a bit too many words, don't you agree? So for the next step, I believe we really need to reduce the amount of text. How exactly do we go about reducing the text then? Actually, generally speaking, for its second or third version, I think it would be best if it could fork it, copy it, duplicate this project. And before that, let's take a look. It's already used about 52% of its weekly quota, which is quite expensive. So let's go check again if we can duplicate it. Yes, it is duplicable. Then from this very spot, we'll switch to a new branch. And what exactly will I do on this branch? What I'm hoping for is that the text becomes a little bit smaller and there's just a bit less of it. And then I'll go ahead and continue connecting my local project. Wouldn't you agree? This import code folder option, it really should be called local folder, to be honest. You know, this AI is not, this particular software isn't really that powerful. And then I looked at design systems, and then I told it, hello, I have some feedback for you. The first is, for example, when I open this web page, I think there are too many words. It's really so much that it makes potential users feel a bit overwhelmed. You need to reduce the amount of text on this point. The second point is, although we compare with competing products, we should actually focus more on our own product itself. And one aspect of the product itself is high performance export, right? It basically has all the functions of Screen Studio and Lumen. That's the second point. And the third point is that it can use AI for editing, for assisted editing, for example, Cloud Code, Codex, and Gemini CLI. So my suggestion to you is this, that you really take the time to redesign it properly, or perhaps make some significant improvements. And by doing so, we can make this whole thing much, much better. And that truly is something I'm very keen to achieve. I'll have to trouble you with this then. Could you please go and help me just spend a little more time to really design it well and make sure to maintain my design style? So I'll just say this much about what kind of feeling I need. Because actually, this is very vague, right? We're actually curious to see if AI can handle such high-level things for us. Of course, for example, it can add comments similar to Figma, and it can also modify some parts or even draw. And I remember there's also something called tweak, right? This is called tweaks, and I chose it, and you can change a lot of things. So let's look at these, focusing on our own selling points. Let's reduce the comparisons. Let's see what it will look like in the end. We'll see you in a bit. All right, everyone, let's now turn our attention to the third iteration that we'll be reviewing next. This third version, honestly, my personal impression is that it actually bears a much stronger resemblance to our current homepage. So my final comparison for all of you is this. For instance, if I open up my current homepage, you can take a look, and if you switch it to English, you'll notice it's actually becoming more and more complex, but it's not bad at all. I can only say that if you currently have a rather basic landing page, letting Claude Design make those changes, I believe that would be quite acceptable. So if you already possess a design that's quite good, for instance, one that our dedicated designer after several days of meticulous revisions has finally produced, I believe it's already perfectly acceptable. Then there's absolutely no need for you to use Claude Design to attempt. What do you think is the impact of Claude's design tool on traditional software like Adobe and Figma? I actually think the impact is huge because it significantly lowers the barrier to design. Some needs have now become AI needs, not design tool needs anymore. But if you ask if it can become very powerful, for example, this part, you mentioned having AI help me with the editing, and that's truly what I'm looking for. So I might just select this particular section, and I'll also be introducing this in much more detail within our community, which is called Generating Power with AI. I'll show everyone how I then convert this into the specific content that I use on my official website. It's about how to approach it, much like the concept of copywriting in the world of coding.
All right, so that concludes our entire series of discussions. Just to quickly recap, this Claude Design tool is truly an excellent tool. I really think it's fantastic. We only used it for prototyping, but it can actually also create presentations. However, there's one problem right now. It's really not cheap at all. I've basically used up more than half of my allowance, and I've only managed to create this much content. But I think there's a very innovative aspect here, which is, for example, when we're using a design system, it can select my local folder, read your local folder, but you don't need to upload everything. It's like you're running a cloud-based coding agent, but it's very, very interesting. And this panel, I really like it. I think this is essentially distilling all your design assets into what's called a design system. Yeah, I think it's really good. Then you see over here, there's still the old school needs work. You can go back and modify it. But for me, I'm already quite satisfied. My requirements aren't that high, and I find it very interesting. If you have any thoughts or suggestions or perhaps any questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below this video. I will do my absolute best to answer them for you. Thank you for watching. I'm Mike, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.